Namaste. Yoga Sutra, Book 1, Sutra 10. There we go. Namaste. Apava pratyayang lamambanang Puratil nidrang Sang Chang Samprabote Pratyavan Marshang Pratyavan Pratyava Marshang Te Pratyaya Bishesha. From there, Sang Chang Samprabotem Pratyava Marshang Te Pratyaya Bishesha Katam Sukhama Sukha Mahama Sevanga Pasama Katam Sukha Mahama Sevanga Pasama Prasananam Me Manaha Prachinyam Me Vishangradi Karoti Tuhaka Mahama Sevanga Pasama Satyanam Mano Pramatyana Pasatita Pramatyana Pasatitama. From there, not too. Tuhakama Hama Sevanga Pasam Satyanam Me Mano Pramatyana Pasatitama Gatam Bhuto Hama Sevanga Pasama Gatam Muto Hama Sevanga Gatam Muto Hama Sevanga Pasama Guru Nui Me Gatra Nui Kalanantam Me Chitatama Alasam Bushritami Ban Deshatwati Di San Karevayam Prabhudatasiyam Pratyavamaisho Na Siyadasati Pratyayanupave Tadan Shritang He Sumurtayashacham Tada Vishwayang Na Siyuha Tasamat Pratyaya Visheshwa Nidrang Sang Chan Samatha Vitara Pratyaya Panani Rodatang Piati. From there, Sang Chan Samatha Vitara Pratyaya Panani Sang Chan Samatha Vitaram Sang Chan Samatha Vitara Pratyaya Sang Chan Samatha Vitara Pratyaya Panani Rodatang. Second try. Sang Chan Samatha Vitara Pratyaya Sang Chan Samatha Vitara Pratyaya Panani Rodatang. Namaste. Whoosh. I want to check one of the spellings. Like, I'm not sure if this is even a word. Styanam. Okay. Everything's good. Moving on. Here we go. Sleep is a fluctuation supported by the cause of the negation. And this is by connecting memory. Alright, sorry. I just words within brackets. And this, by the connecting memory, becomes, upon awakening, a special kind of presented idea. How is it that one can reflect? I have slept well, my mind is calm, it makes my understanding clear. I have slept poorly, my mind is dull, it wanders unsteadfast. I have slept in deep stupor, my limbs are heavy, my mind remains unrefreshed and languid, and as it were stolen. The man awakening would of course not have this connecting memory had there not been some experience of this of a cause. Alright, I'm gonna reread that sentence. Okay. The man awakening would of course not have this connecting memory had there not been an experience of this of a cause. Nor would he have the memories based upon it and corresponding with it. Therefore, sleep is a particular kind of presented idea, and in concentration it also, like any other presented idea, must be restricted. Okay, we're on. Sorry for the, it's not the best translation. Oh well. Bhagavata coming on. Bhagavata translation is excellent. Just as a comparison. Bhagavata next. Okay. Book 5, Hymn 53. Halfway through the book 5. Sixteen shlokas. Okay. I think I need some tissues. Give me one second. Here we go. Namaste. Go Vedam Janame Shwem Go Bang Purang Sumune Shivang San Marutama Yadi Yujirem Gilan Siah Aitan Rateshu Dasatu Shah Gah Shushranga Gatan Yayuh. Second try. Aitan Rateshu Dasatu Gah Shushranga Gatan Yayuh. Gasamai Sasuruh Sudang Se Anambang Baya Elu Pilburu Shirtoyah Saham De Me Ahuria Aya Yurupan Diupil Vipil Mother second try. De Ma Ahuriam Aya Yurupan Diupil Vipil Mother Aya Yurupan Diupil Vipil Mother. Last try. De Ma Ahuriam Aya Yurupan Diupil Vipil Mother. Naro Mariam Arapasa Imanam Pashanan Niti Shurtohi Yem Anjishu Yem Wangshishu Sivapanabaha Srakushu Rukumeshu Kadishu Shrayang Rateshu Tanambasu Yushimang Gam Sumang Ratam Anu Mude Late Maruto Jirada Nabaha Parashutui Diabo Yati Riban Yam Naraha Sudanabo Dadan Shushua Divaha Goshamachu Jiabu second try. Yam Naraha Sudanabo Dadan Shushua Divaha Goshamachu Jiabu B Baljaniam Surajananti Rodasi Anu Tanambanang Yananti Borashurtoyah Tatrudanang Sinantavah Gushodasang Rajah Para Sasurul Tenabo Yatang second try. Tatrudang Sinantava Goshodasang Raja Brahm 사수를 대바놈 사수를 대나보 여탕 마스트롤 따뜨르당나흐 시는타바흐 고쇼다성 라자흐 브랑 사수를 대나보 여탕 시아는 아시방 이바드 이방 트바노 비모자는 비 야드바는 야드발다는 땅 야드발다는 땅 애니아흐 second try 시아는 아시방 이방 트바노 비모자는 비 야드발다는 땅 애니아흐 last try 시아는 아시방 이방 트바노 비모자네 비 야드발다는 땅 애니아흐 양땅 마루토 디방 아는따리 구쇼다망 두땀 망방 시탕아따 파라바따흐 망보 라사니따팡 구팡 구로물망 바흐 시는 돌니 리라마트 리라마트 시는 돌니 리라마트 second try 망보 라사니따팡 구팡 구로물망 바흐 시는 돌니 리라마트 망 바흐 파리 슈터 사라유흐 보리 슈이는 보리 슈이니어 보리 슈이 누였으면 누여 보리 슈이 누였으면 이트 수무나 마스투 바흐 second try 망 바흐 파리 슈터 사라유흐 보리 슈이 누였으면 이트 수무나 마스투 바흐 보리 슈이 누였으면 이트 수무나 마스투 바흐 last try 망 바흐 파리 슈터 사라유흐 보리 슈이 누였으면 이트 수무나 마스투 바흐 땀 바흐 샬탐 라타낭 드베샴 가놈 마루탐 나비아시남 아누 브랑 야는띠 버르셔토야흐 샬탐 바 에슈엠 브라탐 가놈 수샤스티 피흐 second try 샬탐 바 에슈엠 브라탐 가놈 수샤스티 피흐 아누 그라메마 티티 피흐 가스멍 아디야 수장 땅야 라타 하비양 야 브라 야유흐 에능 야메나 마루타흐 예나 똑강야 따나양야 타니암 비잠 와하트베 아구수이땀 아스마 피암 따뜻하듯다남 야드방 이마해 라토 베시방유 사파가마 아티양마 디다스티라흐 스바스티필 히트방 바디아마라티흐 second try from the 아티양마 이다스티라흐 스바스티필 히트방 바디아마라티흐 버르셔토비 참 요랑빵 우스리 배셔잠 시양마 마루타흐 사함 수데바흐 사마하사티 수비로 나로 마루타흐 사말티아흐 second try 수데바흐 사마하 Sudevaha Samaha Sati Subiro Naro Marudaha Sa Maitiaha Yam Trayatvim Siamatem Sutuhi Pojana Sutubatum Asya Yamani Rananangabo Na Yabase. Second try. Last shloka. Sutuhi Pojana Sutubato Asya Yamani Rananangabo Na Yabase. Yataha Polvama Ivan Sakimuranu Huvaya Kirang Grunuihi Kaminahe. Second try. Last sentence. Yataha Polvama Ivan Sakimuranu Huvaya Kirang Grunuihi Kaminahe. Namaste. Yeah. Who knows the birth of these, or who lived in the Marut's favor in the days of old? What time their spotted deer were yoked? Who, when they stood upon their cars, hath heard them tell the way they went? Who was the bounteous man to whom their kindred rains flowed down with food of sacrifice? To me they told it, and they came with winged steeds radiant to the drift. Youths, heroes free from spot or stain, behold us here and praise thou us. Who shine self-luminous with ornaments and swords, with breastplates, armlets, and with beads, arrayed on chariots and with bows. All swift to pour your bounties down, ye Maruts, with delight I look upon your cars, like splendors coming through the rain. Munificent heroes, they have cast heaven's treasury down for the worshippers' behoof. They set the storm cloud free to stream through both the worlds, and rain floods flow over desert spots. The bursting streams in billowy flood have spread abroad like milch kine over the firmament, like swift steeds hasting to their journey's resting place. To every side run glittering brooks. Hither, O Maruts, come from heaven, from midair, or from near at hand. Tarry not far away from us. So let not Lhasa, Gurumu, or Anitapan, Gupan, or Sinantu hold you back. Let not the watery Sarayu obstruct your way. With us be all the bliss ye give. That brilliant gathering of your cars, the company of Maruts, of the youthful ones, the rain showers speeding on attend. With eulogies and hymns may we follow your army, troop by troop and band by band, and company by company. To what oblation giver, sprung of noble ancestry, have sped the Maruts. Almost done. To what oblation giver, sprung of noble ancestry, have sped the Maruts on this course today. Vouchsafe to us the bounty, that which we implore, through which for child and progeny, ye give the seed of corn that wasteth not away, and bliss that reacheth to all life. May we in safety pass by those who slander us, leaving behind disgrace and hate. Maruts, may we be there when ye, at dawn, in rest and toil, rain waters down and bomb. Favored by gods shall be the man, O heroes, Maruts, and possessed of noble sons, whom ye protect, such may we be. Praise the free givers. At this liberal patron's right, they joy like cattle in the mead. So call thou unto them, who come as ancient friends, hymn those who love thee with a song. Okay. Upanishad next. Thank you. Oh wow, a new Upanishad. How do I do this? Let me find it for a second. Kaivalya Upanishad. Let me find it. They have the one with commentary. I'll just skip the commentary, I guess. Let me see if this works. If this works, I'm so lucky. Nope, doesn't work. Okay, found it. Nevertheless, I found it. So transfer that over here. Get rid of the other one. I don't need this anymore. Okay, so this is Nila Nudra Upanishad. What do I want to look at? Okay. So I have the text here, but it's with commentary. At least I found it. I have something to work with. Sorry, I'm checking mic. I don't need this anymore. I don't need this. Okay, that's for today. And this is... what is this? Alright, I don't need that. Nila Nudra Upanishad. Okay, this thing doesn't have it. How about this one? Yeah, it's a smaller Upanishad. It might not have a translation. Which one is this? It's a 12 Upanishad. Okay, so this is the one that I want to reference. It's got all of the Upanishads. So this is what I'm reading today, Nila Rudram. So these are incomplete translations and commentary. I cannot skip it. I mean, it sucks that I'm reading incomplete texts. But as long as the complete sentence there, that's my logic. Right, let's find this. 290. So I'm going to say 320. That'll give me 290. No, 310. And all these commentaries, people love to talk about the work, not the work itself. Okay. Alright, so this is the text for Neuro-Linguistic Upanishad. Now I have to check how many 9 shlokas this thing matches up, then I'm lucky. So, you know, if reading Sanskrit wasn't hard enough, now I have to deal with this. Okay. First shloka. Om Apashyam. Om Apashyam. So it starts from here. So this must be a comment, no, it can't, a mantra before the actual text. Oh boy. Apashyam. Yeah. Okay, so that's the text. That's his this is number 1. Now, did they add anything to it? Diva, Uguru, Janamasa. Oh, so yeah, they added things not to be aware. I mean, I could use this text. Should I just use this text? Because I'm not gonna read the commentary anyway. Alright. I'll just read this. 9 shlokas. I'm not gonna make it too hard. So this is Neuro-Linguistic Upanishad. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm Upanishad. Very hard to find. Okay. Neuro-Linguistic Upanishad. Okay. Oops, sorry. Alright, so I'm not gonna read this text. I'll read this one here. I've used this text before, a long time ago. Here we go. Alright, I need some cannabis. These people are right outside, like, I don't know what they're fucking doing, but... Alright, here we go. Namaste. How do I do this? See, I don't like... It's just for today. I'm gonna read the translation right after reading the shloka. I don't like doing it that way. There's a reason for it, because you're breaking the flow. You know what? I'm just gonna read the text. I'm not gonna read the translation, and then after that I'll read the translation. Here we go. Namaste. Apashyam Devang Baro Hanantam Divitahe Purtivi Mabahe Apasyamasyanantam Ruduram Nilagrivam Shikhananduinam Divan Uguru Avarukushat Pratyashutred Pumiadati Jana Saha Bashyate Maham Nilagrivam Bilohitam Esha Etya Virahan Ruduro Jala Sapeshojan Yad Tekushwe Yad Tekushwe Mamani Nashad Bhati Karopietu Namaste Pavapavaya Namaste Pamamaniave Pamamaniave. Second try. Namaste Pavapavaya Namaste Pamamaniave Namaste Asutu Bahupya Mutotan Ishave Namaha Yamishum Girishanantan Hasate Vipalshuyasatavem Shivam Giritra Tangam Shrenu Mang Himsi Te Purushana Mama Shivana Pachasang Devan Girisha Jecha Badamasi Yatang Naha Saiva Meja Jagada Yakushamam Saiva Meja Jagada Yakushamam Sumanang Asat. Okay, second try. From the arrow. Yatang Naha Saiva Meja Jagada Yatang Naha Saiva Meja Jagada Yakushamam Sumanang Asat. Yang Te Ishuha Shivatama Shivam Bapu Bante Tanuha Shivam Sharabyang Yang Tava Tayang No Muruda Jivase Yang Te Rudurang Shivam Tanu Roda Ra Korang Tanu Ra Korang Ba Bakang Shini. Second try from the Yang Te Rudurang Shivang Tanu Rakorang Ba Bakang Shini Tayang Nasatanam Bang Chanantamayang Girisha Deva Pija Gashat. Second try. Tayang Nasatanam Bang Chanantamayang Girisha Deva Pija Gashat. Asau Yasuta Muro Aruna Uta Vapur Bilohitahe Ya Jama Apito Rudrang Tikushu Shritang Sasrasho Vaishwam Hedva Imahe. Second try. Last one. Last sentence. Ya Jama Apito Rudrang Tikushu Shritang Sasrasho Vaishwam Hedva Imahe Sahasrasho. Third try. Ye Jame Apito Rudrang Tikushu Shrita Sahasrasho Vaishwam Heda Imahe. That's it. Thee I beheld in thy descending down from the heavens to the earth. I saw Rudra the terrible, the azure-throated, the peacock-feathered, as he hurled. Fierce he came down from the sky. He stood facing me on the earth as its lord. The people behold a mass of strength, azure-throated, scarlet-hued. This that cometh is he that destroyeth evil. Rudra the terrible, born of the tree that dwelleth in the waters. Let the globe of the storm winds come too, that destroyeth for thee all things of evil omen. Salutation to thee, who bringeth the world into being. Salutation to thee, the passionate with mighty wrath. Salutation be to thy arms of might. Salutation be to thy angry shaft. The arrow thou bearest in thy hand for the hurling, O thou that liest on the mountains, make an arrow of blessing, O keeper of the hills, let it not slay my armed men. With fair speech, O mountain dweller, we sue to thee in the assembly of the folk, that the whole world may be for us a friendly and sinless place. That thy arrow, which is the kindliest of all, and thy bow, which is well omened, and that thy quiver, which beareth blessing, by that thou livest for us, O Lord of slaughter. That thy body, O terrible one, which is fair and full of kindness and destroyeth sin, not thy shape of terrors, and that thy body full of peace, O mountaineer, thou art one to be seen among our folk. This Aruna of the dawn that is tawny and copper red and scarlet hued, and these thy violent ones round about that dwell in the regions in their thousands, verily it is these whom we desire. Okay, that's it. Let me see which one is next. So, Kena Upanishad. The last one is Kena. Alright, I'll just go there. Kena Upanishad. But there's no Sanskrit text for Kena Upanishad. Let me double check my folder to see if there's another text for Upanishad. I mean, somewhere in my computer has almost all of it. I just gotta find it. Where is it? Upanishad. So hard to find these things. Got it. Okay, Ishan Upanishad, huh? So, maybe. Alright, so it looks like I'm gonna start with Ishan Upanishad next. Ishan. Does that match up with? Yeah, so Ishan is the first one. Kena. Why isn't Kena here? That's my question. Did I read Kena already? Maybe I did. Yeah, Kena Upanishad. Okay, so I read everything. Starting tomorrow, I guess I'll read from Ishan Upanishad again. I'll find that after this session. I don't want to start organizing right now. Okay, so Ishan Upanishad next. Okay, next and last is Shrimad Bhagavatam. Sorry, these texts are very, very hard to find. Is it not only near impossible to read Sanskrit? It's very, very hard to find the texts themselves. Shrimad Bhagavatam, Book 5, Chapter 13. I'm just hoping that it's a small chapter. Shrimad Bhagavatam has been beating me up for the last month or two. Okay, 26 shlokas. irregular and regular shlokas. So I would say for a normal chapter, like a normal Vedic literature chapter, this 26 is like 50 pretty much. Okay, here you go. I just hope nobody I hope nobody harass me when I do this. That's my only wish. Not is it only near impossible to read Sanskrit text, not is it only very, very difficult to find the text themselves, and then you have to deal with people who are going to mess with you because you're doing something that, I guess it's hurting them. I don't know why. Here we go. Namaste. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Trayodashotyaya Brahmana Uvancham Duratyaya Tvanyajayan Diveshitom Rajasatama Hasatava Vipakata Kaimadaraka Sang Esha Sang Tulta Paraha Sang Tulta Paraha Parimuram Pari Pramana Pavantavim Yanti Na Shaima Binandati. Second try. Sang Esha Sang Tulta Sang Esha Sang Tulta Paraha Pari Pramana Pavantavim Yanti Na Shaima Binandati. Yasyam Mime Sharannaram Yasyam Mime Sharannaradeva Dasyavaha Sanaltam Bilum Bananti Gunayakam Balangat. Second try. Yasyam Mime Sharannaradeva Dasyavaha Sanaltam Bilum Bananti Gunayakam Balangat. Last try. Yasyam Mime Sharannaradeva Dasyavaha Sanaltam Bilumum Bananti Gunayakam Balat Gumayabo Yatra Harananti Sanaltikam Paramatama Vishyam Yatoranam Burakah. Second try. Gumayabo Yatra Harananti Sanaltikam Paramatama Vishyam Yatoranam Burakah. Last try. Gumayabo Yatra Harananti Sanaltikam Paramatama Vishyam Yatoranam Burakah. Praputa Virututurno Gurupa Maga Huvare. Praputa Virututurno Gurupa Maga Huvare Gatora Damshai Mashakai Rupa Durutah. Gatora Damshai Mashakai Rupa Durutah. Gatora Damshai Mashakai Rupa Durutah. Second try. Praputa Virututurno Gurupa Maga Huvare Praputa Virututurno Guru Maga Huvare Gatora Damshai Mashai Karupa Durutah. Gatora Damshai Mashakai Gatora Damshai Mashakai Rupa Durutah. Last try. Praputa Virututurno Guru Maga Huvare Praputa Virututurno Guru Maga Praputa Virututurno Guru Maga Huvare Gatora Damshai Mashai Karupa Durutah. I'll take it. Maybe I'll say it one more time. Gatora Damshai Mashakai Rupa Durutah. Moving on. Gvachitetu Kanan Taiba Puram Parapasyati 그바치트 그바치트 장슈 라요를 묵가그라 하며 second try 그바치트 뚜 가는 탈바뿌람 파라파시아티 그바치트 장슈 야로를 묵가그라 하며 라요를 묵가그라 하며 last try 그바치트 뚜 가는 탈바뿌람 파라파시아티 그바치트 장슈 라요를 묵가그라 하며 moving on 니방 사토 야드라 비나 뜨밤망 무드티 스타타 스타토 니방 사토 야드라 비나 뜨마 무드티 스타타 스타토 니방 사토 야드라 비나 뜨마 무드티 스타타 스타토 타바티 포 아트비암 그바치치짱 마티오트 티타빵 수투무랑 바티오트 티타빵 수투무랑 티쇼낭 짱낭티 라자스발라 쿠쇼 second try 그바치치짱 마티오트 티타빵 수투무랑 그바치치짱 그바치치짱 마티오트 티타팜 수투무랑 티쇼나 장나티 라자스발라 쿠셔허 last try 그바치치짱 마티오트 티타팜 사수투무랑 티쇼나 장나티 라자스발라 쿠셔허 타팜 수투 아드러시아 주의 리 아드러시아 주의 리 스바나 깔너슈 아드러시아 주의 리 스바 깔너 아드러시아 주리 스바나 깔너슈 알로카바가 필비암 티타는 따라하테만 알로카바가 필비아 티타는 따라하테만 second try 아드러시아 주의 리 스바나카나 슈라 알로카바가 필비아 티타는 따라하테만 아보누야 브라쿠슈에나 샤라야테 쿠슈타이디톰 마리지토 야냐 피타바티 그바치트 비토양흐 사리토 피양티 파라스파람 짜라셔테 니라는 타흐 앙상아디암 다밤 그바치 다그니 타프톰 레비디아테 그방짱 야쿠셔에 흐르다 수허 second try 앙상아디암 다밤 그바치 다그니 타프토 start over still second try 앙상아디암 다밤 그바치 다그니 타프토 레비디아테 그방짱 야쿠셔에 흐르다 수허 슈라에 흐르다 스바흐 그방짱 릴베는 너짜땅흐 초짜는 비무히야는 누파양띠 까시말라마 그바치치짱 가는 탈바보람 파라비슈터흐 파라무다템 네브르타바는 무후울따마 잘라는 그바치트 가는 더 깔셔가랑은 크리 나가르로코쇼 비만은 이방아스템 잘라는 그바치트 가는 더 깔셔가랑은 크리 나라 나가르로코쇼 비만은 이방아스템 Still the first try. Chalana kabachita karanta kalcha kabat Chalana kabachita karanta kalcha karangan kril nagang Chalana kabachita karanta kalcha karangan kril naga rurukushul bimanang ibasatem Padem pianantara bahani nal ditahe Padem pianantara bahani nal ditahe Gato membikahe Guru Tiati by Janangayam. Kebachinani Gil no Jagam Rahinang Kebachinani Gil no Jagara Hinang Jano Na Baiti Kebach Ginche de Bipinem Ginche de Bipina Babi de Tahe. Second try. Kebachinen nilgi no jagara di. Kebachinen nilgi no jagara hinang jano na baiti keba genchide pinepa genchide bipinepa genchide bipene pa de bit genchide bipinepa babi de ta genchide bipine babi de ta. Last try. Kebachinen nilgi no jagara hinang jano na baiti genchide bipine babi de tahe genchide bipine babi de tahe. One more. Kebachinen nilgi no jagara hinang jano na baiti genchide bipine babi de tahe. Okay, absolute last try. I'm just pissed off because people are messing with me when I do this. They can't leave. They want my energy, They want my energy. And, I make mistakes like that and I get really upset. And then I yell. And then somebody dies. Here we go. Namaste. Kebachinen ni gil no jagara hinang jano na baiti kinchi de bipine babi de tahe 다시다해 서망샷대 그방짬 나는 다슈 가이라는 토는 탁구뱀 나는 다슈 가이라는 토는 탁구뱀 나는 다슈 가이라는 토는 탁구뱀 바디타스담 미스레 Second try. 다시다해 서망샷대 그방짬 나는 다슈 가이라는 토는 타수 나는 다슈 가이라는 토는 탁구뱀 바디타스타미스레 Last try. 다시다해 서망샷대 그방짬 나는 다슈 가이라는 토는 탁구뱀 바디타스타미스레 가히 서망 지트쿠슈드라라 상하네 지트쿠슈드라라 상하네 비치는 밤만 쓰다는 막고 소이깡아 필비아티또 비망하나해 비치는 밤 쓰다는 막고 소이깡아 필비아티또 비망하나해 Second try. 가히 스만 지트쿠슈드라라 상하네 비치는 밤 쓰다는 비치는 밤 쓰다는 막고 소이깡아 필비아티또 비망하나해 Last try. 가히 스만 지트쿠슈드라라 상하네 비치는 밤 쓰다는 막고 소이깡아 필비아티또 비망하나해 따뜻하디 그렇지 치라트 브라티 라브타마노 따뜻하디 그렇지 치라트 브라티 라브타마노 라브탐 따뜻하디 그렇지 치라트 브라티 라브타마노 발라드 빌루문 받는 디아탄 Ballade Biluman Banan Tiata, Ballade Biluman Ban, Ballade Biluman Banan, Ballade Biluman Banan Tiat, Ballade Biluman Banan Tiatan, Dam Tatoniem. Second try. Tatran Tikurache Chrata Parati Labatamano, Ballade Biluman Banan Tiatan, Dam Tatoniem. Gavachi Cham, Shi Tang Tababang Tabalsha Pratikriam, Shi Tang Tababang Tabalsha Pratikriam, Kaltumani Sham, Ansatem. Second try. Gavachi Cham, Shi Tang Tababang Tabalsha Pratikriam, Kaltumani Sham, Ansatem. Gavachi Namitom. 비판어는 야지장 진지드 배셔 모르죠 차티우땅 비드다 샤투여드. Second try. 그바치는 미토 비판어는 야지장 진지드 배셔 모르죠 차티우땅 비드다 샤투여드. Gavachita Kushwina Tanasutu Dasamina Shayang Sanasatana Vihara Hinaha Shayang Sanasatana Vihara Hinaha Shayang Sanasatana Vihara Hinaha. Second try. Gavachita Kushwina Kushwina Tanasutu Dasamina Shayang Sanasatana Bahi Shayang Sanasatana Vihara Hinaha. Last try. Gavachita Kushwina Tana Gavachita Kushwina Tanasutu Dasamina Shayang Sanasatana Vihara Hinaha. Yang Jana Parada Prati Labataka Maha Parakya Derashutri Labatan Lapatri Lapate Vamanama Parakyan Derashutri Lapate Vamanama. Second try from the arrow. Oh, the show got 12 right now. 26 is the last one. It gets really hard at around 20. Yang Jana Parada Prati Labataka Maha Parakya Derashutri Lapate Parakya Derashutri Lapate Vamanama. Last try. Yang Jana Parada Prati Labataka Maha Parakya Derashutri Lapatapamanama Lapate. Okay, third try again. Yang Jana Parada Prati Labataka Maha Parakya Derashutri Lapate Parakya Derashutri Lapate Vamanama Dui Lapate. Absolute last try. Yang Jana Parada Prati Lapataka Maha Parakya Derashutri Lapate Vamanama. Fifth try. Yang Jana Parada Prati Lapataka Maha Parakya Derashutri Lapate Vamanama. Anionia Bitavia Di Shanganga Buddha Nu Mananto. Anionia Bitavia Di Shanganga Buddha Nu Mananto. Anionia Bitavia Di Shanganga Buddha Nu Mananto. Bibahana Bitashijam. Okay, last try. Anionia Bitataviati Shanganga Buddha. Anionia Bitataviati Shanganga Buddha Vairanu Badantom. Anionia Bitataviati Shanganga Buddha. Anionia Bitataviati Shanganga Buddha Tabai. Anionia 아니오니아 베드타 비아티 샹은가 버르드타 바이랑 누바는토 비바하는 비타시짱 아트바니아 모셰미는 누르끄르 쯔추랑 베드타 바토파 사일가일 비하라는 비파는 나흐 아트바니아 모셰미는 누름 아트바니아 모셰미는 누르끄르 쯔추라 베드타 바토파 사일가일 비하라는 사일가일 비하라는 아트바니아 모셰미는 누르 아트바니아 모셰미는 누르끄르 츠라 베드타 바토파 사일가일 비하라는 very hard. Okay. From the arrow again. 아트바니아 모시면 누르끄르끄 못끄르츠 아트바니아 모시면은 누르끄르츠 츠라드 아트바니아 모시면은 누르끄르츠 츠라비드타 바토파 사일가일 비하라는 아트바니아 모시면은 누르끄르츠 츠라비드타 바토파 사일가일 비하라는 almost 아트바니아 모시면은 누르끄르츠 츠라비드타 바토파 사일가일 비하라는 비파는 나흐 비하라는 땅암스땅은 비파는 나는 사히 따뜨랑 비항야 자담 바리그르히양 살타흐 발타테 디양 비나 가시장 가시지다트람 비랑 트바나흐 바라무파이티 요가마 second try 발타테 디양 비나 가시지다트람 비랑 트바나흐 바라무파이티 요가마 last try 발타테 디양 비나 가시지다트람 비라 트바나흐 바라무파이티 요가마. That was really poor. I want to do it one more time. I just wish nobody bothered me when I read Sanskrit. I wish the earth was free of people bothering me when I read Sanskrit texts. That's my only wish. I don't have any needs or wants. Okay, here we go. Namaste. 발타테 디양 비나 가시지다트람 비라 트바나흐 바라무파이티 요가마. 마나스비노 리지타디그 가자난드라 리지타디그 가자난드라 마메티 살베 푸비 바드타바이랑흐. Second try from the arrow. Shloka 15. Manasavino Lijitadigu Gajanan Manasavino Lijitadigu Gajanan Drang Mameti Salve Puvi Badatabairang. Last try. Manasavino Lijitadigu Gajanan Drang Mameti Salve Puvi Badatabairang. Murutem Shayirana na tu Tadavarajananti Yananiasatanan Tadanandwa Yananiasatadanandwa Katavairo Piyanti. Second try. Murutem Shayirana na tu Tadavarajananti Yananiasatadanandwa Tadanandwa Yananiasatadanandwa Tadanandwa Yananiasatadanandwa Katavairo Katavairo Piyanti. Last try. Murutem Chayirana Na Tu Tadavarajananti Yananyasa Tadanandva Katavairo Piyanti. I want to try that again. Murutem Chayirana Na Tu Tadavarajananti Yananyasa Tadanandva Murutem Chayirana Na Tu Tadavarajananti Yananyasa Tadanandva Katavairo Piyanti. Prasajujati Kavampi Latang Pujang Ashraya Satadang Ashrayang Vyakata Padas Padad Bija Sapuraha Pujang Ashraya Satadang Ashrayang Vyakata Padad Bija Sapuraha. Once more. Pujang Ashraya Satadang Ashrayang Vyakata Padad Bija Sapuraha. Second try. Prasajujati Kavampi Latang Pujang Ashraya Satadang Ashrayang Vyakata Padad Bija Sapuraha. Pujang Ashraya Satadang Ashram Pujang Ashraya Satadang Ashrayang Vyakata Padad Bija Sapuraha. Last try. Prasajujati Kavampi Latang Pujang Ashraya Satadang Ashrayang Vyakata Padad Bija Sapuraha. Gavachita Kadang Chita Thari Chakra Tasatra Sana. Gavachita Kadang Chita Thari Chakram Tasatra Sana. Gavachita Kadang Chita Thari Chakra Tasatra Sana. Sakyam Vitatete Bhagakangan Kagura Traiha. Wow, I got that right. 17. Daibanchitom Hamsakulam Sama Vishana Narochayana Sama Vishana Narochayana Shila Mupaiti Panarana. Second try. Daibanchitom Hamsakulam Sama Vishana Narochayana Shila Mupaiti Panarana. Tajujang Tirang Sena Sunil Puratanandriyaha Parasa Paroda Bi Kushona Bi Sapurata Vita Patiha Parasa Paroda Bi Kushona Bi Sapurata Vatiha. Second try. Tajujang Tirang Sena Sunil Puratanandriyaha Parasa Paroda Bi Kushona Parasaparo the B Kushana Bisamura. Wow, made a mistake the first time. Parasaparo the B Kushana Bisamura Tanga Batiha. Parasaparo the B Kushana Bisamura Tanga Batiha. Okay, second try now. Whoosh. Tajujang Tirang Sena Sunibura Tanandriyaha. Parasaparo the B Kushana Bisamura Tanga Batiha. Turumeshu Ramsyana Sutadan Rabat Salom Vyabang Yadi No Vivashah Sivabanantane Gavachita Pramada Giri Ganandare Gavachita Pramada Giri Ganan Gavachita. Sorry, 18 second part. Gavachita Pramada Giri Gavachita Pramada Giri Kanandare Patana Paralim Gurahitavang Gajapita Asatitaha Ataha Gatanchitasam Bimukatang Apadaha Punashacham Sanaitam Parabhishatya Rinandama. Second try. 19. 8 left. Ataha Gatanchitasam Bimukutam Apadaha Punashacham Sanaitam Parabhishatya Rinandama Ativanya Mushimina Najayam. Ativanya Mushimina Najam. Ativanya Mushimina Najayam. Ativanya Mushimina Najayam. Niveshitum. Pramanjanodiyan Pitna Veda Kashichanam. Second try. Ativanya Mushimina Najam. Ativanya Mushimina Naj. Ativanya Mushimina Naj. Oh, come on, dude. A little tired, but how long has it been? It's only been 1 hour. I'm reading faster than before. Yeah, okay. Ativanya Mushimina Najayang. Diveshitum. Paramanjanodiyan Pitna Vedam Kashichanam. Rahu Gana Devamapi Yatvanosiam. Sananyasa Dadanandaha. Sananyasa Dadanandaha. Grata Puta Maita. Grata Puta Maitraha. Second try. Shloka 20. The last one is 26, I think. Rahu Gana Devamapi Yatvanosiam. Sananyasa Dadanandaha. Grata Puta Maitraha. Asaja Chitta Temang Harisavayang Shitam Chinyana Simadaya Tarati Parama Nang Jopang Chang. Ahom Nura Janama Kila Janama Shopanam Kim Janama Pisatva Paraira Piam Bushemina Janama Pisatva Parairan. Janama Pisatva Parairan Piam Bushemina. Janama Pisatva Paraira Piam Bushemina. Second try. Aho Nurajana Ma Kila Janama Shopanam Kim Janama Pisatva Paraira Piam Bushemina. Na Yada Teroshui Kashaya Shaha. Wow, it's one word. This is one word. Na Yada Teroshui Kashaya Shaha Grata Tamanam Maha Tamanam Paha Prachuraha Samagamaha. Na Yada Putam. Sorry. 22. Yeah, I'll take a little break. Yeah, 26 is the last one. It's also the longest one. Okay, here we go. Na Yada Putam Tabacha Charana Bujare no Pil Hatam Haso. Tabacha Charana Bujare no Pil Hatam Tabacha Charana Bujare Tabacha Charana Bujare no Pil Hatam Haso. Pakadira Tokusho Jamalai. Pakadira Tokusho Jamalai. Second try. Na Yada Putam Tabacha Charana Bujare no Pil Hatam. Na Yada Putam Tabacha Charana Bujare no Pil Hatam Haso. Pakadira Tokusho Jamalai. Pakadira Tokusho Jamalai. Last try. Na Yada Putam Tabacha Charana Bujare no Pil Hatam. Oh, come on. Na Yada Putam Tabacha Charana Bujare no Pil Hatam Haso. Pakadira Tokusho Jamalai. Mahulti Kamang. Mahul tikang adiang siang sama gamang cecang me tusutaikan mulo pahato bibekah tusutaikan mulo pahato bibekah. Second one. Ah, scared the freak out of me. Like I'm already scared that somebody might punch the wall while I'm doing this. That's why I don't sound natural right now. Every time somebody does something unnatural while I'm reading Sanskrit, I'm scared from that point. I was also risking a lot of precious things when people do that. Okay, second try. Mahul tikang diasyam samagama chichang me tusutakamu lopahato pivekahe namo mahad pyosutum namaha shishupyo namo yuvapyo nama avatupyahe. Ye brahmane Kamabatu Talinganga Shicharananti Tapyaha Shiva Masutu Rangajinyama. Okay, 24. It's long. So this is one sentence. There's no way I'm gonna get through. So, that's why I tried 3 times and just move on. After 3 tries, I move on. Here we go. Shri Shukang Uvancham Ityeva Mututarang Mangataha Savai Brahma Shri Sutaha Sinentu Patayam Atma Satatang Atma Satatavam Vigano Yataha Paranupavaha Paramakaru Nui Katayopadishyam Paramakarunui Katayopadishyam Rahu Ganuena Sakaruna Mapi Vananditang Charana Sakarana Mapi Vanandita Charana Apur Novan Ivan Niprotakaranovil Niprotakaral Miang Shayom Karanui Mimam Pichachangra. I want to say this again. Niprotakarano Miang Shayo Taranoi Mimam Pichachangra. Okay, second try now. Ityeva Mututarang Tamataha Ityeva Mututarang Mangataha Samai Brahma Shui Sutaha Sinuntu Patayam Atma Satatavam Atma Satatavam Pigano Yataha Paranupavaha Paramakarunui Katayopadishyam Paramakarunui Katayopadishyam Rahu Ganuenam Sakaruna Mapivanandita Charana Apur Novan Ivan Diprotakaranol Miang Shayo Taranui Mimam Pichachangram. Last try. Ityeva Mututarang Mangataha Samvai Brahma Shri Sutaha Sinuntu Patayam Atma Satatavam Vigano Yataha Paranupavaha Paramakarunui Katayopadishyam Paramakarunui Katayopadishyam Rahu Ganuena Sakaruna Mapivanandita Charana Sakaruna Mapivanandita Charana Apur Novan Ivan Niprotakara Miang Shayo Taranui Mimam Pichachangram. Moving on. That's another sentence that's really long. I'll just read it 3 times. 2 shlokas left. 25. Saubira Patirapim Sujana Samabhagatam Sujana Samabhagata Paramatma Satatavam Sujana Samabhagata Paramat Sujana Samabhagam Sujana Samabhagata Paramatma Satatavam Atmanya Vidya Thya Ropitam Cha Dehatmamatim Visasaljam evam hi nirupa bhagavadam shiritam nupavaha. Second try. Salvira patirapim Sujana samavagata paramang Sujana samavagata paramatma satatatavam Sujana samavagata paramatma satatatavam Atmaniya vidyam thyaropitam cha dehatmamatim Visasaljam evam hi nirupa bhagavadam shiritam nupavaha. Last try. Salvira patirapim Sujana Salvira patirapim Sujana samagatam Savas Salvira patirapim Sujana samavagata paramatma satatatavam Atmaniya vidyam thyaropitam cha dehatmamatim Visasaljam evam hi nirupa Bhagavadam shiritam nupavaha. Ranjobancham. Last one. And once again, this is another long sentence. Wish it was on one page. Alright, I have to move. Here we go. Yo ha bang iha bahuvidang maha bhagavata devaya pitaha parokushvana pachasanga jivaloka pavang athivang sa Aryan mani shoyang karepita bishoyo nanja sa byutta panana lokam. Oh man. Nanja sang byutta panana loka samathikamaha atam tadevaitad duram bhagamam tadevaitad duragavam tadevaitad darabaga duram tadevaitad durabaga bhagat tadevaitad durabagamam samaveta nukarepena didishyatam iti. Second try. Yo ha bang iha bahuvidang maha bhagavata devaya pitaha parakushvana pachasang jivaloka bhavathivang sa Aryan mani shoyang karepita bishoyo nanja sa byutta panana loka samadhikamaha Nanja sang byutta panana loka samathikamaha atam tadevaitad dura bhagamam tadevaitad dura bhagamam samaveta nukarepena didishyatam iti. Last try. Last shloka, last try. I'm okay now. Oof. Here we go. From the end. Yo ha bang iha bahuvidang maha bhagavata devaya pihitaha parakushvana pachasang jivaloka bhavathivang sa Aryan mani shoyang karepita bishoyo nanja sa byutta panana loka samathikamaha atam tadevaitad duragava bhagamam tadevaitad durabhagamam samaveta nukarepena didishyatam iti. Okay, that's it. I'm not gonna try too hard. I read it through 3 times. Should be enough. Thank you very much. Namaste. Shalom. Iti Shrimad Bhagavate Mahapuranoe Paramahamsyam Samhitang Yam Panchamasakanante Tarayodashotyayaha. Okay, I have to get the physical translation. There's no digital translation online. So, I mean, there is, but yeah, this is the best one I found. Okay, just 1 minute break. Thank you. There we go. Discourse 13. The Brahmana began again. Put on the path, the end of which is difficult to attain, Bamayam, and devoted to activities, divided into various categories according as they are dominated by the qualities of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. This company of merchants, ranging everywhere with the object of acquiring wealth, enters the forest of mundane existence, where it finds no delight. In that forest, O ruler of men, there are 6 highwaymen who rob this company led by an unworthy chief, and, finding access to their camp, jackals drag away an unwary member of the company, even as wolves carry away a strayed sheep. Harassed by cruel gnats and mosquitoes in a place dense with numerous creepers, grass, and shrubs, they witness here an imaginary city in the sky, while at other places they behold a fleeting ogre appearing like a firebrand. I'll read that again. Harassed by cruel gnats and mosquitoes in a place dense with numerous creepers, grass, and shrubs, they witness here an imaginary city. I can't say imaginary because of my injuries. Imaginary, okay, once more. Harassed by cruel gnats and mosquitoes in a place dense with numerous creepers, grass, and shrubs, they witness here an imaginary city in the sky, while at other places they behold a fleeting ogre appearing like a firebrand. Looking upon a habitat, water, and moth as their own, they run about here and there in the forest Orafu-gana, while at some places they cannot distinguish the quarters, smoky with the dust raised by a whirlwind, their eyes being blinded with dust. The notes of unseen crickets jarring upon their ears and their mind, disquieted with the hooting of owls, they betake themselves to unholy trees when oppressed with hunger, while at some places they run after a mirage. Here they march towards streams without water, and, when starving, they seek food from one another. There they meet with the forest conflagration and get scorched with fire. I'm gonna read. This is Shloka 6 now. Sorry. Here they march towards streams without water, and when starving, they seek food from one another. There they meet with the forest conflagration and get scorched with fire. While at a third, they give way to despair when about to be killed by yakushas. When disposed of their wealth by heroic men, they feel depressed in spirits. Nay, grieving and getting confused, they faint away. And, entering an imaginary city somewhere, they rejoice for an hour or so as though happy. Desirous of climbing up a hill, they sometimes proceed in that direction to some distance, but their feet being pierced with thorns and gravel, they sit down like one sad at heart. Burnt with a large family and tormented with hunger, they indeed get angry every moment with their own people. Cast in the forest now and devoured by a serpent belonging to the species known as the boa constrictor. Cast in the forest now and devoured by a serpent belonging to the species known as the boa constrictor, they have no consciousness left in them, and now bitten by poisonous creatures and fallen in some covered well, deprived of their sight, remain lying down there in darkness, sometimes seeking after honey, they are tormented by bees and feel frustrated in their attempt. And if they achieve success in that direction with great hardship, others forcibly rob them of the booty, and yet others snatch away the prize. And at some places they are unable to ward off cold, the sun, storm, and rain, and sit down, while elsewhere they sell between themselves whatever commodity they have with them, and make enemies of one another, on the contrary, because of their greed. I'll read that again. Shloka 11. And at some places they are unable to ward off cold, the sun, storm, and rain, and sit down, while elsewhere they sell between themselves whatever commodity they have with them, and make enemies of one another, on the contrary, because of their greed. On some occasions, when impoverished and deprived of a bed, a mat, etc., to squat on, a dwelling and conveyance in that forest, they ask these of another. But on failing to secure their desired object, they cast a look on others' property and incur ignominy. I'll read it again. Shloka 12. On some occasions, when impoverished and deprived of a bed, a mat, etc., to squat on, a dwelling and conveyance in that forest, they ask these of another. But on failing to secure the desired object, they cast a look on others' property and incur ignominy. In spite of their feeling of animosity having been aggravated by their attraction for one another's wealth, they enter into marital relations with one another, and, while sporting along this road, are reduced to a miserable condition through great many hardships, monetary loss, and calamities. Monetary losses, spelled it wrong. Shloka 13, again. In spite of their feeling of animosity having been aggravated by their attraction for one another's wealth, they enter into marital relations with one another, and, while sporting along this road, are reduced to a miserable condition through great many hardships, monetary losses, and calamities. Leaving behind all their deceased companions at different stages of their journey, and taking with them every newborn babe, the company marches onward and onward. None of this company has returned to this day, O brave monarch, nor does anyone take to yoga, leading to the extremity of the road. I'm going to read it again. Leaving behind all their deceased companions at different stages of their journey, and taking with them every newborn babe, the company marches onward and onward. None of this company has returned to this day, O brave monarch, nor does anyone take to yoga, leading to the extremity of the road. Heroes who have completely subdued the great elephants, guarding the quarters as well as the four intervening corners, all bite the dust. I'm going to read it. Heroes who have completely subdued the great elephants, guarding the quarters as well as the four intervening corners, all bite the dust on the field of battle, having confirmed hostility with one another for the sake of the earth, claiming it as their own. None of them, however, attains the goal which is reached by the recluse, who is free from enmity. Clinging to the arms of creepers and full of longing for sweetly warbling birds perched on them, they get strongly attached to some place, and sometimes afraid of tigers, they make friends here with cranes, herons, and vultures. Betrayed by them, they seek to join a flock of swans, but not finding their behavior to their liking, they approach monkeys, and their senses being fully gratified with the amorous sports natural to the race, each pair get so absorbed in looking at each other's face that they forget their death. Seeking delight in trees and fond of sons and wife, they are impatient with the animal desire for sexual indulgence and powerless to get rid of their bondage. When falling into some ravine through inadvertence, this company catches hold of some creeper and remains suspended by it, afraid of the elephant. Somehow extricated from this calamity, however, he joins the company once more, O chastiser of fools. No one put on this track by Ma Yang, and wondering, is able to cognize the supreme object of life even to this day. You too have been put on this track, O Rahu Gane. Completely abjuring violence and making friends with all living beings, do you take up the sword of wisdom, sharpened with the worship of Shri. I'm going to read it again. Shloka 20. You too have been put on this track, O Rahu Gane. Completely abjuring violence and making friends with all living beings, do you take up the sword? You too have been put on this track, O Rahu Gane. Completely abjuring violence and making friends with all living beings, do you take up the sword of wisdom, sharpened with the worship of Shri Hari, and with the mind unattached to the pleasures of sense, get to the end of this road. So many words within parentheses. I'm going to read that one more time. You too have been put on this track, O Rahu Gane. Completely abjuring violence and making friends with all living beings, do you take up the sword of wisdom, sharpened? Oh my God! Now I'm being listened. I'm being spied on. Okay, Shloka 20 again. You too have been put on this track, O Rahu Gane. Completely abjuring violence and making friends with all living beings, do you take up the sword of wisdom, sharpened with the worship of Hari, and with the mind unattached to the pleasures of sense, get to the end of this road. The king said, O human birth is the best of all incarnations. Of what avail are births of the highest order in heaven, where the fellowship of exalted souls, whose mind has been purified by the glories of Lord Vishnu, is not had in abundance. It is no wonder that unalloyed devotion to Lord Vishnu should spring up in a man whose sins have been scoured off with the dust of your lotus feet, when I find that my ignorance, which had its root in fallacious reasoning, has been rooted out by an hour's fellowship with you. Hail to the Brahmanas who are advanced in age. Hail to infants. Hail to the young. Hail to all down to the youngsters. May kings receive blessings from those Brahmanas who traverse the earth in the garb of ascetics that have shaken off all worldly feeling and obligations. Shri Shuka resumed. O Parikushwi, having thus explained the true nature of the self out of supreme compassion to the ruler of the Sinantu territory, even though he had slighted the Brahmana, the son of a Brahmana sage, who possessed the highest glory, and whose feet were adored by Rahu Gane in a pathetic way, roamed about the earth like an ocean which is full on every side, with a mind whose waves in the form of the Inandriyas had been stilled. Having fully realized the true nature of the Supreme Spirit, as taught by that saintly soul, Rahu Gane too shed the wrong notion planted on his mind by ignorance that he was the body. Such, O king, is the greatness of those who have taken shelter with the devotees of the Lord. The king said, the course of transmigration of embodied souls that has been described by you in the form of an allegory, a great devotee possessed of varied knowledge, has been fancifully conceived by the inventive genius of wise men, and it cannot be readily and clearly understood by untrained minds. I'm going to read it again. The king said, the course of transmigration of embodied souls that has been described by you in the form of an allegory, a great devotee possessed of varied knowledge, has been fancifully conceived by the inventive genius of wise men, and it cannot be readily and clearly understood by untrained minds. Therefore, point out the hidden meaning by bringing out the corresponding ideas. Therefore, point out the hidden meaning by bringing out the corresponding ideas. I'm going to read that one more time. It's the last sentence, or last shloka. The king said, the course of transmigration of embodied souls that has been described by you in the form of an allegory, a great devotee possessed of varied knowledge, has been fancifully conceived by the inventive genius of wise men, and it cannot be readily and clearly understood by untrained minds. Therefore, point out the hidden meaning by bringing out the corresponding ideas. My injuries act out when other people, they want my energy. People want my energy. They get in my energy, and then my injuries get worse, and then I get really angry. All right, I'm done. Thus ends the 13th discourse in Book 5 of the great and glorious Bhagavata Purana, otherwise known as the Paramamsa Samhita. Okay, I'm done. I got through. Alright, I'm glad that it didn't take longer than 2 hours. Every time I do this, every time I do this, somebody's freaking out to the point that that person has to mess with me. If I did this in the Himalayas, it would have taken me like half an hour. I would have done like an hour ago. That's what I'm dealing with here, I apologize, but if you have a lot of money and you want to contribute to society, you could put me in the Himalayas and I'll have Amazon drone deliver everything. I'll be happy. But whatever. Have a good day. Namaste. No, shalom.